Welcome back to God's Lore Deep Dive. Today, we will transcend the three realms, moving beyond the very limits of time, to explore an existence whose greatness lies beyond all definition. HONGJUN LAOZU. He is not a governing deity, but the primal god of Chinese mythology, the living, tranquil embodiment of the Tao. In this epic lasting over 60 minutes, we will analyze his supreme origin, the ultimate disciples he enlightened, and the sole intervention that decided the outcome of a great divine war. Get ready, for we are about to step into the realm of the limitless. Chapter 1. The Supreme Origin and the Age of Chaos. 1. Coming from the Void, the Wuji. To truly begin this story, we must retreat to a point before time itself, to the realm of the Wuji, limitless/void. The absolute stillness where there is no life, no matter, no concept. In Taoist philosophy, the Tao is the Wuji, the one that gives birth to all. And HONGJUN LAOZU is the earliest manifestation of that primal Tao. He was not born, but spontaneously manifested from the primordial Hongmeng energy. He existed before the Taiji, supreme ultimate, divided, before Yin and Yang were defined. At that time, the universe was merely a mass of primordial, immeasurable chaos. HONGJUN concealed himself within that primal energy, absorbing its essence and cultivating not to become stronger, but to become more absolutely still, to become the embodiment of the eternal rule. 2. Witnessing the creation and the sign of Tao light. After billions of years of stillness, the event that unfolded the universe occurred. Pangu separating heaven and earth. Pangu used his divine axe, sacrificed himself, and transformed his body into mountains, rivers, and stars. This was the beginning of material existence. HONGJUN, through the eyes of the Tao, witnessed this entire magnificent creation, becoming the sole witness to both the beginning and the end of a universe. His appearance caused no sound, but a burst of Tao light. His entire body shone with a brilliant golden light, Jin Guang, a manifestation of the stellar elements illuminating the universe. He is the very essence of heaven and earth, appearing even before chaos. And to ensure consistency for the God's Lore Deep Dive channel, let us reaffirm his image. He is a tall, elderly man, with a beard and hair as white as 1,000-year-old snow, wearing a deep purple robe of chaos. The ultimate identifying feature, his eyes have no pupils, but are two deep voids filled with nebula, containing the light of creation. This image represents the Tao, the eternal truth, immutable and undisturbed. 3. Zixiao Palace, the Master's Call. When the material world was formed but lacked the rule to maintain stability, HONGJUN LAOZU retreated to his abode, Zixiao Palace, Purple Cloud Palace. This is a place located beyond the deepest solitude, where neither space nor time can reach, outside the three realms. Zixiao Palace is where he performed his most supreme function, transmitting the Tao. The three most noble streams of primal energy, the souls that would become the great three pure ones, sought him out here for enlightenment. In absolute stillness, HONGJUN expounded upon the Wuji, the Taiji, and the balance of Yin and Yang, laying the foundation for all the operational rules of the new universe. This was the turning point that ushered in the era of the divine, where the Supreme Master prepared to entrust the greatest artifacts and responsibilities. In Chapter 2, we will unveil the secrets of his three great disciples, Taishang Laojun, Yuanshi Tianzuan, and Tongtian Jiaozhu, delving into the differing philosophies of their three sects and the ultimate divine artifacts that were passed down, which later ignited the earth-shattering Great War. Chapter 2. The Rise of Taoism and the Three Pure Ones. 1. The Need for Rules and the Promise of the Tao. Following Pangu's sacrifice, the world was filled with spiritual energy but remained in a state of flux and chaos. Though all things were proliferating, they lacked the rules to maintain eternal stability. Without law, the primal energy would inevitably self-destruct. HONGJUN LAOZU, the embodiment of the primal Tao, understood that he could not directly interfere in every minute detail, but he had to establish the pillars that would support the universe. Therefore, he decided to transmit the Tao, seeking out the noblest souls of the early era to entrust with the mission of maintaining order. The first and only ones qualified to enter Zixiao Palace and listen to the supreme Tao teachings were the three pure ones, Sanqing. They were the three noblest streams of primal energy, considered the first three fully enlightened beings, gods/immortals, of Taoism. HONGJUN became their first master, the founder of the three greatest theological schools of the East. 2. The three seeds of the Tao, the three pure ones. HONGJUN's three disciples, later revered as the three pure ones, represent three aspects of the Tao, the three pillars of the universe. Yuanshi Tianzuan, jade purity. He is HONGJUN's first student, born from the first core energy of the universe, the original ultimate energy before the division into yin and yang. He presides over the Chan sect, known for its strict selection principle. Only disciples with pure moral character and profound spiritual roots were admitted. His philosophy is to select the elite, preserving the purity of the Tao. Taishang Laojun, supreme purity. The second disciple, presiding over the human sect. Taishang Laojun focuses on matters of ethics, rights, cultivation, and the concoction of spiritual elixirs to prolong life. He is the embodiment of virtue, de, of the harmony between gods and humans. His school represents tranquility, following the natural philosophy of the Tao follows nature, Tao Faz Ran, doing the least possible so that all things can function on their own. Tongtian Jiaozhu, upper purity. The third disciple, presiding over the Jie sect. The Jie sect propagates methods of cultivating the body and mind, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth for all beings, including plants, rocks and animals, regardless of race or origin. If the Chan sect represents the elite, the Jie sect embodies the vastness and equality. It was this difference in the philosophy of disciple selection that created the greatest seeds of conflict in the history of the divine realm. 3. The legacy of supreme artifacts. HONGJUN Laozu does not personally display power or boast of divine artifacts. He often presents a simple, unadorned image, carrying only a wooden staff and a gourd containing spiritual elixirs. However, the legacy he passed down to the three pure ones comprises the most powerful treasures in the universe, used to re-establish order after the chaos. He passed down the Pangu banner, Pangu fan, to Yuanshi Tianzuan, an artifact capable of splitting heaven, tearing space, representing the power of destruction and creation. He passed down the Taiji chart, Taiji 2, to Taishang Laojun, the artifact that balances yin and yang, capable of stabilizing geomancy and time. And he passed down the four immortal slaying swords, Zhu Xian Si Jian, to Tongtian Jiaozhu, four lethal swords that can combine into the strongest formation, capable of killing even a saint, Sheng Ren. This bestowal proves HONGJUN's supreme authority. He is the creator of power, not one who needs to wield it. He entrusted his disciples with the responsibility of maintaining the universe, and only awaited one event that would compel his reappearance. And that event arrived. In Chapter 3, we will delve into the great investiture of the Gods' War, the Immortal War, the earth-shattering conflict between the Chan sect and the Jie sect, and analyze the single moment HONGJUN Laozu was forced to intervene to prevent the collapse of the three realms. Chapter 3. The Great Investiture of the Gods' War and the Ultimate Formation. 1. The Seeds of Conflict. Although HONGJUN Laozu transmitted the Tao teachings and bestowed the three pure ones with supreme divine artifacts to maintain balance, the very difference in their evangelistic philosophies sowed the seeds of disaster. Yuanshi Tianzuan of the Chan sect championed the elite and the pure, only accepting disciples with good spiritual roots. Meanwhile, Tongtian Jiaozhu of the Jie sect was all-encompassing, accepting all beings, from plants and animals to rocks and metal, provided they had the desire to follow the Tao. This distinction led to deep conflict. The Chan sect scorned the Jie sect as a motley crew of disciples, and when the celestial court, Jade Emperor's court, needed to appoint 365 deities to govern the three realms, the power and status struggle between the two sects erupted into the great investiture of the Gods' War. This war was not just a conflict between immortals, it was a war between two philosophies, the elite versus the masses, order versus freedom. It threatened to tear apart the fabric of order that Pangu had created and HONGJUN had painstakingly established. 2. The Grand Battlefield and the Invincible Force. The investiture of the Gods' War was an earth-shattering conflict. The two sides fought with countless ancient divine artifacts. But the climax of the war centered on Tongtian Jiaozhu and his destructive formation, the Godslayer sword formation, Zhu Xian Si Jian Zhen. Detailed weapon analysis. The four swords, slaying immortal, Zhu Xian, trapping immortal, Xian Xian, killing immortal, Lu Xian, and severing immortal, Ju Xian, were indirectly passed down by Hongjun. When combined, they formed the most lethal killing formation in the universe. This formation could not only injure immortals but also had the capability to kill a saint, Shang Ran, a cultivation level attained even by the three pure ones themselves. Its power was so terrifying that even when Taishang Laojun and Yuanshi Tianzuan combined their efforts, they still required assistance from other sages, such as Taoist Jain and Taoist Juanti from Western Buddhism, to break the formation. This proved that Tongtian Jiaozhu, despite being the last disciple, held a destructive power that even his two elder brothers could not handle alone. The universe was on the verge of complete fragmentation. 3. The ultimate intervention. It was at that peak moment of chaos, when heaven and earth were submerged in bloodshed and divine artifacts, that an absolute stillness abruptly enveloped the battlefield. A brilliant golden light, Tao light, spread, not the fierce light of war, but the primordial light of the primal Tao. HONGJUN LAOZU had reappeared. His intervention is the rarest and greatest event in mythology. He appeared with no weapon and no grandiose words. By his sheer presence alone, he compelled all the warring sages to stop fighting and bow their heads. The supreme act, to resolve the conflict among his disciples, Hongjun produced poison pills and forced both Taishang Laojun and Yuanshi Tianzuan to consume one. He also compelled Tongtian Jiaozhu to swallow this poison pill. Though called poison pills, they were harmless, instead serving as a supreme oath. If any of them were to wage war against each other again, the poison would take effect. The goal, this act was not punishment, but a re-establishment of the rule, proving that even the most powerful sages must comply with the order of the Tao. Hongjun mediated, maintaining the supreme balance, ensuring that the cosmic order was not utterly shattered by the disputes among his disciples. He did not need a battle, he only needed his presence and a symbolic act to affirm, he is the rule. After the great investiture of the gods' war concluded, HONGJUN LAOZU returned to Zixiao Palace. In Chapter 4, we will delve into his eternal legacy, analyze his true position in Taoism, and why he remains a deity more mysterious and authoritative than the Jade Emperor and the three pure ones combined. Chapter 4. The Eternal Legacy and the Supreme Position. 1. The Withdrawal of the Tao and the Indelible Legacy. Having successfully mediated the great investiture of the gods' war and consolidated the positions of the celestial court and the three realms, HONGJUN LAOZU completed his mission as a master and the establishment of order. He did not demand veneration or the supreme ruling position. Instead, he immediately returned to Zixiao Palace, concealing himself within the chaos, in a place untouchable by both space and time. This withdrawal is a profound symbolic act in Taoism. The supreme Tao does not interfere directly but allows nature to take its course. This is his eternal legacy. Hongjun entrusted the responsibility of managing the three realms to the three pure ones, and later to the Jade Emperor, but he always maintained the role of the orchestrator behind the scenes, upholding the ultimate balance between all forces. His presence, though invisible, remains the final limit that no deity, not even the three pure ones or the Jade Emperor, dares to cross. 2. The unparalleled position, above sages and the Jade Emperor. In the Chinese mythological system, HONGJUN LAOZU's position is unique. He stands above all three of his disciples, who have attained the realm of the sage, Shang Ren, and hold supreme power within their sects. Compared to the three pure ones are great deities, but they are only disciples, elements enlightened by Hongjun from primal energy. Even when they caused the Great War, they still had to comply with and feared the intervention of their supreme master. Compared to the Jade Emperor is the supreme sovereign of the celestial court, the ruler of the three realms. But the Jade Emperor manages the material and spiritual worlds that have already been formed. HONGJUN LAOZU is the one who existed before that world took shape, the one who created the rules that govern the Jade Emperor's own authority. In other words, the Jade Emperor is the executive, while Hongjun is the constitutional founder. He is the symbol of creation, order, and supreme power that no one, including the other supreme beings, can match. 3. The philosophical symbol of silence. Hongjun's true power does not lie in his appearances or dramatic battles. He is often depicted as a benevolent, simple old man, carrying only a staff and a gourd. This is a deliberate contrast. His power lies in silence and eternity. When he appears, all wars must cease. His strength is the power of absolute rule, where all matter and consciousness must bow to their own origin. He is the planter of the seeds, enlightening philosophy, not the reaper, seizing power. He is the rule, not the one who follows the rule. This is why, throughout the history of mythology, the reverence for HONGJUN LAOZU has always been more philosophical and supreme than for any other deity. In Chapter 5, the concluding chapter of this epic, we will examine HONGJUN's legacy in a modern context, compare him to other primordial gods around the world, like Chaos in Greek mythology, and pose open questions about the eternal mystery of this god beyond time. Chapter 5. Conclusion and the Eternal Mystery. Final Thoughts. 1. Overall Assessment. The distinctiveness of the Tao ancestor. We have traced HONGJUN LAOZU from the stillness of the Wuji, void, through the event of separating heaven and earth, to his sole intervention in the great investiture of the gods' war. His greatness lies not in bloody victories or territorial conquest, but in being the master of all masters, the constitution maker of the universe. He does not need the title of the Jade Emperor, nor the throne of the celestial court, because he is the embodiment of the Tao, a concept that stands outside all hierarchical systems. He is the very explanation for the saying, "First came HONGJUN, then came heaven." His retreat to Zixiao Palace is not a sign of weakness, but a confirmation. When order is established, the rule must sustain itself. That is the supreme philosophy, transcending all individual ambition. 2. HONGJUN and global primordial deities. To truly measure the power of HONGJUN LAOZU, we need to place him alongside the primordial deities of other civilizations. In Greek mythology, the first deity was Chaos, a boundless abyss, pure disorder, the prerequisite for life. HONGJUN LAOZU was also born from chaos, but he is not just chaos. He is the consciousness, the order that germinated from that very chaos. He is the one who tamed chaos. If we compare him to Uranus, the first sky god who begot the Titans, HONGJUN LAOZU is the one who created deities like the three pure ones, existences capable of both creating and destroying the universe. While Uranus was overthrown, HONGJUN's authority cannot be challenged, because he is not an entity of power but a supreme principle. HONGJUN LAOZU represents a profound philosophy of the East. The greatest strength is not winning the war, but preventing the war through the wisdom and profundity of the Tao. 3. Conclusion and call to action. We have journeyed to understand HONGJUN LAOZU, the one who sowed the seeds of order into chaos and is the source of all divine power in China. He has shown us that even the greatest sages are but students in this infinite universe. He is the one who stands at the threshold of time, the one who spoke the final word determining the fate of the deities. So what about you? Without the intervention of HONGJUN LAOZU, would the great investiture of the gods' war have completely destroyed the universe as we know it? Would Tongtian Jiaozhu have become the new supreme deity? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this kind of deep dive analysis, be sure to subscribe to the God's Lore Deep Dive channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming epics. See you on the next deep dive into the treasury of mythology.